Welcome to the first episode of this Hino bus, where we convert it into a motorhome. On the first episode of this build, we're going to show you around, show you the rust, show you the repairs, and show you what we've done to it so far. So let's get into it. Rightio, I'm just sitting in the cargo hold of the bus. Now, some of you might ask, what is this bus? Now, this bus is a Hino, however you want to pronounce it, that's what it is. Now, its model is a CH160A. I'm not sure whether the A stands for airbag suspension or not. But yeah, this bus has fully airbag suspension all the way around, and the engine is in the middle. So I'll show you that. That is the engine. She's in the middle. And obviously the next hatch door, that's obviously your gearbox and things like that in there. And that is it. So that is this bus. It has a mid-mount engine and it has a 6-speed manual gearbox. So that is fun. I did in the past, I had an issue with the clutch master cylinder. So that's air over hydraulics. So we had to replace that. That was fun. I'll show you a bit of a clip of that actually. That's that brand spanking new thing there I had to replace. So that was fun and games, trying to bleed that up and stuff by myself and get that all underway. So that's basically it. The gearbox is there, drive shafts, all the funny business, all the Jonda in there. But yeah, this is basically the little cargo hold. This is where I was going to put a washing machine under here. So I was going to put a decent washing machine in there, and basically that's it. That's how you access your engine and your gearbox and all that messy, funny business that no one really cares about until something goes wrong. Now, this model also has the door that goes up. So as you can see, there's a bit of airbrush artist stuff I was mucking around with one day on there, and back of the bus, obviously. We've got a bit of work to do there, a bit of rust and things. But that's it. Basically, that is the bus. She's a Hino CH160A and mid-mount engine. So we're going to jumpstart it with a couple of lithium 12-volt batteries because the original batteries in the bus, which I put in over 10 years ago, they're not good anymore. They do not want to charge up. They just don't want to come to the party at all, so they can piss off. They can go in the bin. Now we're going to get some new batteries, but I'll get some new batteries once the bus is basically ready for sale, because I don't want to sitting around. I'd rather just put a fresh set of batteries in it for the new owner, and then there's no dramas. So we'll do that. Basically, as I said, there's plenty of work to be done. Got to get new tires, all that jazz. It's got to go for roadworthies. It's got to have engineers reports for gas modifications and engineers and all that fun business. So we've got a lot of legality stuff that we've got to look into before we start building. As I said, the laws have changed. Lithium batteries now need to be in a sealed box. It's vented outside. I've got to check on the regulations now. When we built the buses years ago, you could just have your main power inlet on the inside, on the outside, and then your fuses on the inside. I'm not sure whether the fuser has to be on the outside now. We just got to go through all that and see what the legalities are and things like that. And with the bifold door, it's cool, the bifold door on the bus, but it is not allowed to be a bifold door for registering it as a motorhome, because it has to be an outwards opening door and it has to be well vented. As any of you who know have already got a caravan, you'll see your caravan door has one of them vents at the bottom which lets all your dust in and all that funny business. So you have to have one of them for legalities. So we've got to change the door. Maybe we're going to go for an Aussie Traveller design, or I'll build the door myself. I'm not really sure how we're going to go about it, but that's definitely what I've been looking into, is putting one of the Aussie Traveller doors on there. 1720 or 1760 by 722. I can't remember what the measurements are exactly, but that's what the door we're going to go for, is an Aussie Traveller door, the new style. And basically that is going to be the bus in a nutshell. So I've got to check a few things underneath, but I did take it to a mechanic when I first got it, and he said underneath everything motor wise is all structurally sound and it drives like a kitten. It just purrs along. So I absolutely love driving it. It's a bit of getting used to because of the airbag suspension, so she sways a bit and things like that, but it's very comfortable to drive, and it's very powerful actually. I've had this up to well, let's just say $1.20, and it hums along, no worries. So nevertheless, let's get stuck into this build. Let's go through all the paperwork and do all the things behind the scenes, with all the boring stuff that no one wants to see, and get this thing legal and engineered and done and built and sold before we get our caravan. Fingers crossed we can get it all done. Yo! Alright, now what I'm about to do here, I don't recommend you try this at home because you may injure yourself, but I've got 2 lithium batteries here. We're going to make this 24 volt because the bus runs 24 volt, not 12, so we're going to link the batteries together, which I've just made some Anderson plugs quickly to join those 2 batteries, and we've got our leads here. So basically, hook on our negative, on the positive, and we're hooking this straight to the starter motor on the lead, and we'll just earth it to the body here. That's it. So that's it. Let's get it started. Guys, she's running. Basically, the joys of a lithium battery is they maintain 13 volts all the time, right to flat. So that's it. She runs beautifully. I can give you a few engine specs later on, but I can't really remember what is basically in it. But nevertheless, it is a healthy motor. As I said, it's been sitting for probably a good 4 years, and I basically just jump started it as you've seen now, and it starts up no worries and runs like a beautiful machine that it is. So that's her, all running. It is non-turbo. It does not have a turbo. I did, however, purchase a turbo to put on the thing, but I think it's plenty powerful for what it is, and it's more work for me, so we'll just leave it at that. Righto, so we're going to see if we can revive the batteries in the bus. So I've got the charger on there. It's only a 12 volt charger, so we'll just do one at a time and see if we can bring these babies back to life. If not, we're going to have to buy some new ones, which is going to be a shame. But nevertheless, life goes on. So we're going to charge them up. May take a couple of days. It's only like a 4 amp charger. It's all I've got lying around. So we'll just use that. So here we go. And if the batteries come back to life, that'll be good. If not, as I said, we'll just change them out. So that's what we're doing for this afternoon. This afternoon, I'm also going to weld up a few of these holes. So this was originally a cutout for the lights, the tail lights that were in there before. They're very ugly. So I put these in there a few years back. These are some eBay jobs, and while they haven't stood the test of time at all, they're just discolored and they're just bloody junk. So we're going to replace all them with some decent ADR approved LED ones, and weld this up, and a bit of filler work. Same for the back there. We'll just do a bit of tidying up on the back sheet there, and that'll be basically it. Today we're going to try and just tackle a little bit, get a bit done, and get into it. I've spoken to a few engineers as well, so we can do everything properly before we go too much further. I don't want to go, get all the way invested into it. We fit it all out, and then the engineer says, well, I don't know what's underneath it. I don't know what you've done. So we'll get the engineer out once we've done a few things, and he can sign off on everything and let us know what we can and can't do. So it's legal. Everything's going to have modification plates. It's all going to be done by the book, because that is the only way to do a motorhome or a caravan conversion these days. Everything's got to be done roadworthy. Certificates for your gas, electricity, and basically your engineer's report to say that you've allocated new different seats, you've removed seats and things like that, so that it all complies with engineers, so it's safe. So that's what we're going going to do. That's what I've spoken to the engineer about today, and he sent me a few things in an email that we've read over, and basically I'm going to organise a sit-down appointment with him, and I will go through everything that I'm modifying, everything that I have already modified, and then he'll come out and have a look and say, righto, yes, no, you can't do this, you can do this, you need to change this, and we'll go from there. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to charge the batteries, I'm going to weld up a few holes and get stuck into it. Righto, so we're just welding up where the old tail lights and that were. There was a panel already in there, which wasn't great. Someone's just obviously put it at the back and whatever. Anyway, what we're doing is we're welding up the back panel where the tail lights were, original ones. So I've just cut a sheet there, just taking it in. It is windy as it's not ideal for welding at all. But nevertheless, it's got to be done. So I'm getting stuck into it. I'm just going to tack weld this all the way along, grind it all up, and then we'll put some fiberglass filler, body filler, prime it up. Basically done. So that's what we'll do with that one. We'll swell that, and the same as the other side. I'll cut another sheet there, put that in there, and basically grind it. Same as before, fiberglass, body filler, primer, paint it. Basically it's done. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, by no stretch of the imagination am I a qualified boilermaker, nor do I claim to be a professional at anything. So we're just out here, like the average Joe Blow, getting things done. Welcome to the inside of the Hino bus. Now, we've done so much work to this, removed all the seats, we have leveled the floor because it had a walkway and it used to step up either side. So we've leveled the floor completely, removed all the seats, and basically stripped all the walls and all the air conditioning ducts, and everything's completely gutted out of here, and we've added a few things already. So we'll give you a rundown of what we've done so far. Okay, so that's not the original driver's seat. We've changed that out. We've removed all the dash, fixed up a few little rust imperfections and things there. Still a bit more to go around there. We've got to rip all the windscreen out and get all that sorted as well. There's heaps of wiring we've got to rip out from all the old air conditioning ducts and all these old LED lights and things that we're going to put in. So we're going to sort all that out. Now, all the other sides and things, there was a lot of rust around the windows. I've replaced them with all new sheets of aluminium so they won't rust. And basically, we're going to put the kitchen on this side here. Now, I've already roughly built a frame for it. This is where the stove is going to sit. We are going to change the bench tops and maybe the design of the kitchen a little bit, because this kitchen setup I originally had on the opposite side of the bus. So it was on the left side of the bus, and I want to change it around a bit because we've got to put a passenger seat at the front there on the left-hand side, and we're also going to put a lounge behind that so that the passenger seat will be on a swivel, so that it all sort of tie into the couch. So that's what we're going to do there. Now, I've got a couple of seats here, as you can see. We're not going to use these, so don't even worry about them. We'll sell them. Basically, the kitchen there, a couple of drawers, couple of cupboards, and this wall you see here, this cubicle, this is a toilet and shower. So if you have a look in here, we've got the Thetford toilet in there with the cassette, and that empties out on the outside. We've got to obviously put a hatch in the roof here for the ventilation for the shower, so we're going to get that sorted. Now, with any build, you do need to make sure that you're abiding by all the guidelines and you don't cut any structural integrity out of the bus. So, for example, if you have a look at the roof here, you can see all the rafters that are all here. When you cut out for a roof hatch or anything of the sort, you need to cut out within the rails. You cannot cut the rails. So be mindful of that. Anything that's structural on the bus, you cannot cut it. You can only work within your means of it. So there's a few things to consider when you're decking out one of these, and if you want my honest advice, don't do it. There you go. Okay, now directly opposite the toilet / shower is going to be the fridge and the microwave situated just up there. So we're going to put that there. We may put a small pantry maybe off to the side, or I may even change the bench around a little bit and we can put a small pantry beside the the toilet and the kitchen. But we'll see how we go for space and room. But we're definitely going to do a nice lounge there with the passenger seat and things like that. So we've just got to work out what we're going to do. We've got a lot of overhead cupboards and things to put in as well. Moving on to the bedroom side of things. So as I mentioned here, basically, as you can see, the wall beside the shower there, that'll be basically on this side where the fridge and the microwave will be stopped. So it'll all just be one continuous wall basically there. You could probably put a concertina door there or whatever, but if it's just for a couple, it doesn't really matter, privacy, whatever. So the bedroom is basically, it's nearly 3.2 meters roughly, and the bed there is obviously on gas struts. I've still got to build the base for it and things like that, so it'll fold up. It obviously won't go up that high. I've just got it out of the way for now, but we're going to build a base for that. We've got a control box for the bus that runs obviously everything, all the switching for the bus, and underneath the bed as well, we're going to run all the battery system. Now, there's a lot of legalities that went through in 2003 about lithium batteries and how you should store your batteries, and they have to be vented outside. So as I mentioned before, if you're going to build a bus or a caravan, just don't do it. There's so many laws you've got to abide by. It's almost not worth doing these days. So if you want to do it, make sure you print out everything. It's basically a phone book full of VSBs and all this legality stuff. It's a headache, but we'll definitely we'll run through it with you. A couple of things. Here we go. Okay, so as I said before, this is the bed itself. Now you can extend it. So this base here is just extends out. So basically, if you've got a bigger mattress or something like that, it accommodates for it, no worries. So all we've got to do is basically build the bed frame base for it, and that sits on there. It's got some gas struts, so obviously once you want to put some storage and stuff underneath it, it just lifts up out of the way. It's not going to bang you in the head, so that's nice and handy. And we've got to run a lot of electrical work underneath all the 240, the batteries and etc. underneath the bed. So basically, in a nutshell, what we've done so far, we've already installed some windows here. They're just wind out ones. They're pretty good. And all electrical, a couple of wiring things I've done so far. We've got to just pinpoint everything, but we'll go through it as we go. But what I've done so far is a lot to get it to this point. Now, I've owned the bus for about 10 years, and it's been a lengthy process. It used to be a few hours away from me, so I could only have the weekends to work on it. And then as I moved the bus closer to me, it's just one of them things you just never get around to doing. So that's why we decided we were going to buy a caravan, because we wanted the flexibility to actually get down to the Murray River and in a lot of places where this bus wouldn't go. And we like our four-wheel drive too, so we're not going to part with a four-wheel drive. And we need to launch our boat. So the bus is not practical for us for what we want to do. So that's the reason why we're fixing it up, and we're going to move it on to someone that will be deserving of it, and they'll appreciate it. So that's one of the reasons why, if you see on our channel, we've bought ourselves a caravan and we're doing a bus. That's the reason why we're getting rid of the bus, because it just doesn't suit our needs. Okay, now, as I mentioned before about structural integrity and cutting things out, I'll just show you what I've done so far so you can get a sort of general gist of what I mean by cutting out structural integrity. So I've cut out already in the side of the bus 2 holes. Now, you'll see that there's cross beams beside either end. Now, they are the structural integrity parts. Now, what I've cut out is basically just the flat sheeting that goes on the exterior. Now, that is not structural at all. So you can cut that out, you can put your hatches, you can put your exterior showers and whatnot in there, and that is perfectly fine to do that. But if you're going to cut out main beams that actually hold walls and things up, that's where you're going to run into a lot of dramas, and that's where your engineer will basically tell you you've not ever going to register this bus. So you need to be very careful in what you're doing. Alrighty, so we've already mounted an air conditioner to the roof. So it's a Dometic Harrier. It's an older style one, but it is still relatively new in the caravan market. So that is a really good air conditioner. And we've also got up further here a extraction fan. Now, this extraction fan, you can actually have it on while you're driving or whatever. It actually lifts up, and if it's raining, it's perfectly fine. It doesn't let any rain and things in. It's a really good fan. It's called a maxxfan. I will leave a link down in the description there, and we'll show you a picture of what it looks like. If you want to get yourself one, they're really awesome. they draw air in and they suck air out as well. So they're actually pretty good for that aspect of things. Now these are obviously the cutouts that I did already. You've seen inside where the structural integrity and things are. This box here that we've cut out is just going to house a bracket for a TV. If you want to remove your TV from inside to put it outside, there'll be some aerials, some USBs to charge your phone and things like that. There's another one up here which is going to be just a little, probably an external shower I think I might put there. But we've cut that out. That's an external shower pocket for that one. And basically on the other side there's going to be another hole cut out like this that'll go underneath the kitchen bench. That is for the instant hot water service. So we're running a full instant hot water system in this, so there's less hassles and people can just adjust the temperature, and you actually use marginally less water if you set it up correctly. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we've got on the bus so far. We've been working on it flat out, and we hope you enjoy it. Okay, so we're doing a bit of body work today. We've done a little bit so far. We're having a lot of dramas with our GoPros lately, so we've missed a lot of the footage. But nevertheless, we'll show you what I've done so far. So that's what I've done so far off camera. Now the rest of it, what we're going to try and do is sand the rest of the side up, fix whatever dents and things that are, you know, in the bodywork. Basically seal up all around the edges, and we're going to get it all in primer. So it's a high build primer, which will show you how to mix all that. We'll show you, so if you don't understand what the high build primer is, we can explain all that to you as well. So that's what we're going to aim for today. We're going to sand all this with a 240 grit sandpaper on an orbital sander, the whole side. Now any other dents and things like that we'll pick up along the way before we get it in primer. So that's what we're going to aim to do today, is we're going to sand the whole side here with 240 grit sandpaper, and then it gives us a nice adhesion for the primer to stick to. Now with anything on a massive scale such as this bus, it's very overwhelming, and it can be, overwhelming to see something like this and you think, well, you got to try and get it all done very quickly. Now if you break it down into small pieces, which we'll do, and you'll see throughout this build series, I'll show you how we're going to do this. Now if you see on the side of the bus here, we have a whole bunch of doors all the way along there. We're going to remove all them, and all we're focusing on today is just everything above the doors. So we're going to try and prime all that whole sheet there. Now that is a whole sheet of aluminium, so that'll sand up nice and easy because it's a very soft metal. We're going to remove this sealer here that's obviously coming away. We're going to clean up a bit of rust, and as I said, we're just going to sand this whole top section here with 240 grit sandpaper, and then we're going to get the primer onto it. Happy days. We're going to fix a bit of rust, as you can see, and weld up a few patches here and there, and there's a few chips and things, but we'll get all that done and we'll show you the rest of it. Now, when sanding anything or using any primers, paints, materials and things like that, obviously you've got to wear the proper PPE. Dust masks. This is the sandpaper we're using, 240 grit. And we have a soft pad on top of the orbital sander. So this is soft pad, or you can call it intermediate pad, whatever you prefer. Now that just helps you get around corners and things like that. Obviously we're using a flat surface, so it doesn't really matter as much. So we'll put that on there. We put the mask on, obviously the hearing protection as well, because the sanders and that are very loud. I just wear the noise cancelling AirPods, bang them in, happy days. And obviously the glasses, which is just prescription for me. So get your PPE on, airline, sander, and let's get into it. Alrighty, so we've sanded all the middle section of the side of the bus, so I'll show you what we've done here. So, as I said before, you've already seen these repairs. Now, there's a couple of little things along here, bit of rust that I've sanded out. Now, I've feathered these out a bit. There's a couple of little small dents and things all the way along here. So we'll put a bit of filler over there, another dent there with a bit of rust in it. I cleaned up. We'll put a bit of filler in all the way along, down through all these. These all need bit of filler in them. where there's a bit of rust and things like that. And yeah, and then we'll move on down to this little rust repair here. So we'll probably just cut this little section out and we'll just weld a piece of metal in there to tidy that up. That's what we'll do with that one. And then we'll use a bit of fiberglass over the top once we've welded a new patch in there. And that'll be basically it for this side. We can sand the body filler down and then we'll get stuck into the primer. Alrighty, that concludes this video. Now, we've called this bus Big Bertha. Now, we're not really happy with that name, so if you can come up with a better name, please leave it down in the comments, and we'll be sure to change your name, that's for sure. Whether it's a she or a he, we haven't decided yet. So, we want to change it Big Bertha, but for now, that's what we're calling it. Please let us know what we should be calling this bus. But that's it for this episode. If you want to be notified when we upload the next video, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell. So, we hope you enjoy this build series as much as we're not, and we'll see you in the next one. Motorhome episode of Hino bus. I don't know what the people say, Hino or Hino.
Hino and our dealers have been...
This is the first... What am I saying?